Video editors have a misconception that something like this is difficult to do, but I'm going to show you why it's not and how you can do it in less than 5 minutes. Let's go. First, you're going to want to place your footage into an After Effects composition like this. It should be a moving clip where there's plenty of camera movement. Then go over to your effects and presets and look up 3D camera tracker. Apply that to your clip, go down to advanced and select detailed analysis, and then wait for that to finish loading. After the 3D camera tracker has been applied, click on it and you'll see all these little dots that show up. What you want to do is just take your mouse and left click and circle a few of these that are on the ground, right click and press create null in camera. You don't actually need this null, so you can just delete it. What's most important is that you have this camera in here. What this camera does is that when you press your text and you write any text that you want, I'm gonna write 26. I'm actually gonna give it a quick color before I turn it into a 3D layer. You can do this by clicking this little box, this cube, on the layer, and it turns it into a 3D layer. Now it places it right where we circled those like dots, and then if you press V or select this little selection tool, you can just drag this up to put it wherever you want. I'm gonna press S on my keyboard. I'm gonna scale this way up just so that you can see it. If you need to zoom out, you might have to drag it from like way down here. But once you drag it back to the center, it goes and sticks in the video just like that. That is absolutely crazy. It doesn't take that long just to put something in the video like that. Now, obviously, it doesn't look quite right. It's super important that when you select your text, you go up to this anchor point tool, the pan behind tool, hold down Control or Command, and then double tap it. Once you double tap it, it brings it right to the center, and that way when it spins from the center, which is what you want. And look at that, that looks like it's pretty good. I'm gonna use this tool, once again, going up to your selection tool. You can rotate it a little bit. I'm gonna make it bigger by holding down Shift as I do this to make sure it scales up nice. I'm just gonna position it where I want. You can also do this by pressing P on your keyboard and using these values down here. And then that looks like it's pretty good. I'm gonna raise it up just a little bit. I might angle it back just a little bit. But look at that. That is set in stone in your video. That is so cool and doesn't take long to do at all. Now, in order to make this 3D, make sure that your 3D renderer right here is selected as Advanced 3D. Then go to your text layer, go down to geometry options, and increase the extrusion depth. That'll make it 3D just like that. Then change the bevel style to convex. I like that style a lot. Go down to material options, specular shininess, and raise that up. It makes it a little bit shinier, and I like it. It looks really cool. That's without the shininess, that's with the shininess, and you can just adjust that value to whatever you like. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna raise this up a tiny bit more, and then press Control D to duplicate this layer. And now I have a whole nother layer I can work with. I'm gonna type in straight winds. Then I'm going to select that, scale this down, and then going back to the selection tool or pressing V on your keyboard, you can just move this right underneath. And look at that. It stays right with the 26. That actually looks like it's right on the ground. I got the position just correct. Look at that. That's awesome. I'm gonna raise it above the ground a little bit. I'm gonna select it all and then change this to be white. All that's left to do is to animate the 26 and the straight winds to come into the screen cool. In order to do this, there's a couple ways you can do this. The first way, I'm gonna do with the 26. Go press P on your keyboard and then Shift R to bring up your position and rotation keyframes. Select these keyframes, and then this is where you want the 26, so you're just gonna move it out a little bit. And now you can make new keyframes on your cursor at the beginning of the video, and then you can go ahead and raise this up. You can spin this around a little bit, and you can raise that off screen so that it comes in just like that. To make that a little bit smoother, select your keyframes, press F9 on your keyboard, and then now it's a little bit smoother. I'm gonna make this a little bit longer, and now it comes in smooth just like that. That was the first way of animating. The next way, if you're using text, it's as simple as going to effects and presets, looking up 3D. There's a ton of 3D text effects that you can apply to your text. Make sure you're right at the beginning of where you want this text effect to be applied. Select a random one. I have no idea what this is gonna do. And then press play. And it like just flips in like that. How cool is that? These are built into After Effects, by the way. This isn't a plugin. They're automatically there. If you press U on your keyboard, it shows all your keyframes. I'm gonna go ahead and select this keyframe and make it way quicker because I want this to come in really quick. Maybe not that quick. I'll extend it out a little bit and then move this so it comes in after the 26. 26 goes in, straight wins. Still gotta mess around with the keyframes and timing a little bit. You might have noticed that there's a shadow in my original one that comes in right down here. In order to do that, it's not that tricky, but it can be. All you have to do is right click down here, select new, and then do a new solid. Make this solid black, and then create a circle that's kind of tiny in the center here. And then go to your black solid and make sure you select this as a 3D layer. It's gonna also place it right where the circles were. And then you can go ahead and use these tools to kind of place it right underneath the straight winds. I'm just rotating it, and then I'm gonna drag this corner to kind of make it a circle like that. Don't worry if it seems like I'm going really fast. These controls are pretty finicky when you're first learning. So like just this rotates it one way, this moves it one way. It just takes a little bit of time to practice. And then obviously you can stretch this out. Didn't even mean to do that. You can stretch this out too. But then when you play it back, it looks like that circle is right underneath where we need this text to be. So that's perfect. That's actually beautiful. Now you go over to your effects, look up fast box blur, place that on the circle just like that, and increase the blur. Now obviously this blur is like way too spread out, which is why I'm going to make this a lot tinier. I'm going to just drag these little points out. Or you can press S on your keyboard and just scale this down too. I probably do want this over here a little bit. Yeah, so the shadow is there, but you don't want it right there right away. You're gonna wanna press T on your keyboard. You don't wanna take this opacity and turn it down to 0, and then go wherever you want it, probably right around when the 26 comes in. It's not perfect by any means, but it gets the job done for sure. Like that. And now you have this nice shadow that comes in. I'm gonna decrease it a little bit. And all these settings are a little finicky. You can play with it however much you like. But look at that. That is beautiful. That is stunning. You get your 3D text coming in with the camera and the shadow. And all that's left to do is if you have this plugin, you can apply a deep glow by selecting everything except for your footage, pre-composing this, move all attributes into the new composition, and then look up deep glow. And then apply it, and then it just makes it really nice and glowy. But if you don't have it, no worries. It's not that needed for this effect. And that's all there is to this. It's such a cool effect that many editors are kind of scared of trying, but once you do it once or twice, it's super simple and you can do it all the time and you can create some really cool effects. If you guys noticed in the original intro video that I did for this YouTuber, I actually applied a really cool premium glow effect that bursts in to make this transition to this shot really cool. If you guys want to check that out, it's available on my website at lukeryanmedia.com. I use it in almost every project, and it's just a really cool way to electrify and get some glows into your montages, sports edits, music videos, whatever it is. So feel free to check that out. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.